Alright, what's up guys? New video today. One I'm very excited about. We finally have some new Blue Eyes support. The last one we got was Abyss a couple months back, but it was only really usable in certain builds, and then LP got hit and that sucks. But this is our new card. We have a True Light. Basically a card called True Light. It is like Eternal Soul if you ever played Dark Magician. It's like Eternal Soul but for Blue Eyes. Basically, it's a kind of like a control card. It makes it so all your Blue Eyes monsters can't be... All your Blue Eyes White Dragons, not Blue Eyes monsters, but Blue Eyes White Dragons specifically can't be targeted. And then it has two other effects. Actually, three other effects. If this card is destroyed... If this card is destroyed and leaves the field, you can... all of your monsters on the field get destroyed automatically. That's a huge problem in Dark Magician. It's actually not that big of a problem in Blue Eyes, because Blue Eyes actually has a ton of protection through like Azure Eyes, and Blue Eyes also has a lot of protection through the Return of the Dragon Lords, so it's really not that big of a deal. But sometimes it can destroy your own cards. That's really the only drawback to the card. It also has two other effects. Once per turn, you can either summon a Blue Eyes from your hand or graveyard, Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or graveyard. And there's another positive part about that, which is that you can actually special summon Alternative, because Alternative counts as a Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard. So that's actually really, really good, because with Dark Magician you can only summon like a normal Dark Magician, but in this you can actually special summon Alternative, and then you can pop cards. And Alternative, if you don't know, is actually not once per turn. It's not a hard once per turn monster, so you can summon an Alternative, pop your opponent's monster, link it away, and then special summon the Alternative back with this card, and then pop another card, since it's not a once per turn, like a hard once per turn. The other effect that's cool of this is that you can set a card that specifically lists Blue Eyes White Dragon in its text directly from your deck to the field, but it has to be a card that you don't have in your graveyard or face up on the field. So you can't, if you already have the card in graveyard, you can't use another one. But yeah, three very good effects. Basically what I did here today is, this is actually a control deck, a controlled Blue Eyes deck, because I wouldn't, there's really no point to play this in like a there's no point to play this in a combo version of the deck. If you guys want to see a combo version of the deck, I could probably put something together. I've really been working on one. But yeah, this is a control version of the deck. It's going to be kind of slowed down. Blue Eyes has slowed down a lot. It's not what it used to be. So you have to kind of take it easy and kind of prevent your opponent from playing. But this card really, really helps that strategy of Blue Eyes, because... yeah, it just continuously gives you free Blue Eyes White Dragons, continuously searches traps. It's a +1 every single turn, and it gives you protection. So let's get started. First things first, we're playing 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon. Just play whatever artworks you like. I always switch these up, whatever I'm kind of like feeling. But yeah, 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. You always play 3 of the original regular Blue Eyes White Dragon. You got to get it in the graveyard as soon as possible, especially with Especially with this new True Light card. You need to get it into the graveyard as fast as possible, so you can keep kind of like looping it over and over and over, and summoning it during your opponent's turn, and getting all types of free resources. Next we play 2 copies of Alternative. Alternative is another very good card. Like I said, it works really well with True Light, because it counts as Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard. So if you properly summoned it already, you can continuously summon it back with True Light and pop your opponent's monsters. Yeah, it's a very good card. You only have to play 2 because it's very searchable. It's searchable off of Bingo Machine. It's searchable off of Melody of Awakening Dragons. You don't need to play 3 copies. You might as well just play another card that's better, which this card would be Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Basically, I used to play 3 alternatives, but now I just play 2 alternatives and 1 copy of this. This is just another card you can add off of Melody of Awakening Dragons. It's 3,000 attack, 0 defense. It has a perfect stat line where it works with Melody of Awakening Dragons, and therefore you can kind of just continuously get it for free. But yeah, this card is basically, if you can banish 3 lights or 3 darks, or a combination of light and darks, which you have access to through using your extra deck and your main deck. But basically, if you use all lights, you can special summon any monster from your graveyard, which can help you do rank 8 plays or link plays. Next we play Amorphage Goliath. We are playing a copy of Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres that'll help us lock our opponent out of the extra deck. So they have to go to their battle phase to get over this, and if you have... a pretty easy setup is you can summon this Amorphage Goliath. You can basically summon the Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spears with two dragon monsters. They make a normal summon, you bounce their normal summon, you summon Amorphage Goliath, and now they have nothing to attack over your monster with, and they have to basically enter They basically can't special summon from the extra deck, and they have to destroy your monster without it. And then also, this card has some good synergy with Hope Harbinger, because Hope Harbinger can basically draw in attacks, and even if this thing has 0 attack, 0 defense, you can just make them attack the Hope Harbinger instead of attacking the Morphage Goliath. It's basically, it's nice, easy protection. Also, of course, Return of the Dragon Lords protects it. Like, there's a lot of protection in this deck, so a Morphage is a really cool card. Next, we play 1 Dragon Spirit of White. Again, easily loopable, so if you're playing against back row, this is generally a good card to have since it banishes back row. Nebula Dragon, 3 copies. This card, I love this card. This is one of the best level 8s to play in Blue Eyes. It just kind of like throws your bricks out of your hand onto the field. Basically, you have to have this card in your hand and then reveal a level 8, and you can special summon that level 8 and the Nebula Dragon to your field. Both effects are negated, but it doesn't matter because most of the time you're using like a regular Blue Eyes White Dragon. So yeah, usually the effects are negated, but it doesn't really make a difference whatsoever. But basically, yeah, you negate the effect. And both monsters get special summoned, and then you're locked into Light and Dark Dragons. I swear to you, our entire extra deck is Light and Dark Dragons, so it has absolutely no effect. Our main deck is all Light and Dark Dragons except for a Morphage Goliath, and our extra deck is all Light and Dark Dragons, so it literally has no impact whatsoever. That lock does nothing to us. But basically, it just spits out 2 level 8s and helps us go into either rank 8 plays or helps us go into the Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, and it helps us put a Blue Eyes in the graveyard. We play 3 copies of the White Stone of Ancients. This one is better in the slower build because it just kind of summons a Blue Eyes at the end phase, which in the combo build, this card actually is not that great because it's a little bit too slow to summon during your end phase. But in this build, it's actually really good because all you really need to do is just summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon and just keep it in play, and you can usually do pretty well. And then, of course, it has the effect to add a card back from graveyard. One White Stone of Ancients. Sometimes you just need a Blue Eyes in hand immediately, so you can just play a White Stone of Ancients and then just Dragon Shrine it to the graveyard. Always a decent way to search it. Next, we play 3 copies of Return of the Dragon Lord. This is mandatory. Number 1, it brings a large monster back, a level 7 or level 8, a level 7 or 8 dragon monster. That's already good. And then secondly, of course, it gives you protection from the light, the what is it, Forbidden Light or Hidden Light from the True Light. So obviously you need to play that. 3 copies of Trade-In. It's our main draw power card, so you need to play it. 2 copies of Melody. The reason I play 2 and not 3 is because we actually do play Bingo Machine Go, so you can kind of cut down on this. It's not that serious. And there's not as much search targets. Like I said, the combo version, you'd play 3 Melody, but in this version, you can get away with 2 Melody because it's not... there's so many ways to get Blue Eyes in our hand. You don't have to rely on Melody. You just don't. There's so many other options. Then we've got 1 copy of Monster Reborn, because this is like another copy of Return of the Dragon Lords. 2 copies of Dragon Shrine. This is great because it puts a normal Blue Eyes in the graveyard, and then it allows you to put an additional card in the graveyard. We play 2 copies of Bingo Machine Go. Bingo Machine Go is like, I'm very off and on about this card. Like, I kind of like it, I kind of don't. I don't like the fact that you have to play 3 copies of every single card. For it to be very consistent. Basically, you have to play 3 copies of a card to guarantee that you search it off of Bingo Machine Go, and that's kind of the thing that I don't like about Bingo Machine Go. But what is good about it is that it searches the new card, which is True Light, helps you get into it quickly. The other problem with this is it's a hard once per turn, whereas Melody is not a hard once per turn. Then we've got Piercing the Darkness. This is actually a new card also. This card's good, but you never want to see 2 of them. Like, it's a good card, but 2 of them just does nothing. Basically what it does is when you summon a normal monster that is not a token, you can draw a card. That's effect number 1. That's already a decent effect because you're going to be summoning Blue Eyes every single turn. That effect is once per turn. So you summon a Blue Eyes in your turn, you draw a card. You use the True Light to summon it during your opponent's turn, you draw a card. And you keep going and going and going and summoning. You basically get a free card every time you summon a Blue Eyes, which you're summoning for free. So that card's actually pretty good when you get it kind of looping with Blue Eyes. And then its other effect is when a monster, either a normal monster or a ritual or XYZ or fusion monster that is made using a normal monster, battles your opponent, it gains attack equal to your opponent's monster. Which that effect is also pretty good because it basically means your Blue Eyes White Dragon or a monster made with Blue Eyes White Dragon can get over virtually anything. So yeah, it's a really, really good, like... Again, if you set up a state where it's a slowed down state, that card is actually really, really good because you basically can attack over every single monster your opponent controls. Now for the trap cards. This part is actually the most important part. We play one copy of Destined Rivals. We only play one. It's searchable off of True Light. Yeah, we play one copy. It's searchable off of True Light. You don't have to play more copies than that. It's basically like a searchable, essentially impermanence. It negates all. If you control a Blue Eyes or Dark Magician, you can negate all monsters your opponent controls. So it's basically like a searchable impermanence that you can activate from the hand. We've got two copies of the Ultimate Creature of Destruction. You actually don't really want to draw into this card. You'd rather just kind of search it again into that. You go into a grind game, you search this card. It is good. Like, it basically can make you live for a turn. It's good on offense and defense because any monster that battles with Blue Eyes gets destroyed anyway. But basically what's cool about it is that it makes your Blue Eyes unaffected by other card effects. And on top of making it unaffected by other card effects, it makes it so your Blue Eyes is... basically, it's unaffected by all other card effects, and it can't be destroyed by battle, so it's basically indestructible for that turn. And then it has a graveyard effect, where if you summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can set this card back to your field, which is also very good. Next, we play two very important cards. One copy of Imperial Order, because if you have like 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons and you flip this, your opponent's basically dead. They're going to have a tough time without their spells of trying to get over... a bunch of 3,000 attack monsters. Play one copy of Skill Drain, because although some of our monster effects do matter, again, our monsters are 4,000 attack. Like, if you activate a Skill Drain, your opponent's going to have trouble getting over your board while their monster effects are unactivated, are basically negated. 3 copies of True Light. I've already explained why this card is good. This is kind of like the engine that runs the deck, the control version of the deck, because yeah, these traps are just very, very good these traps are basically very, very good with this card, and it makes a lot of these traps a lot more playable. So definitely, yeah, True Light searches, it summons from grave, it gives you protection, it does a lot. We play 3 copies of Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi. For those of you that don't know, basically if you control a non-effect monster, which is a normal monster, or it's like a fusion with no effect, something like that. Basically any monster that doesn't have an effect, and your opponent activates or when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, you can negate that effect. It's a counter trap. And then it has an additional effect where if this card is set, and if this set card is destroyed, you can special summon a non-effect monster from your extra deck, which you can actually summon the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon essentially for free whenever this card gets destroyed. So either way, I like this card. Whether it gets destroyed and you get to summon a free monster, or if this card is used as a negate, it's good either way. And again, because of True Light, you will always have a Blue Eyes on your side of the field, no matter what. So you'll always have the negate will always be live. Then we play 2 copies of Guard Dragon Cataclysm. Again, this is another card. If you, for those of you that don't know this, if you tribute it, you contribute a dark monster. You contribute a dragon monster and then pop 2 cards your opponent controls. It's basically like Icarus attack for dragon monsters. Normally, it's a neutral It's like a neutral 2/2 where you give up 2 cards, your opponent gets their 2 cards destroyed. But this is actually better in this deck because True Light, you can just summon a Blue Eyes, activate this, tribute the Blue Eyes. Tribute the Blue Eyes that you just summoned back, and then destroy your opponent's cards. And then the next turn you just bring the Blue Eyes back for free anyway. So you basically are getting a bunch of pluses off of your free Blue Eyes. So that is it for the main deck. Again, this is very like control Blue Eyes deck. Now for the extra deck, we play 1 copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is, again, I don't have a way to summon it off of like Polymerization. The only way to summon it is off of the Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi, which actually does go off a lot, because if your opponent pops your back row, you just get it for free. Yeah, it pops up actually. I actually summon it quite a few times in games because your opponent like side in a bunch of back row hate, and then you could just summon this thing for free. We play 1 copy of Twin Burst. A lot of people have actually been cutting this recently, but I actually have begun to bring it back because Yu-Gi-Oh's making a lot of monsters that can't be destroyed by battle. No, yeah, they can't be destroyed by battle, card effect, and can't be targeted. And this like destroys all of those monsters. This card outs Dragoon. This card outs a lot of things because it can't be destroyed by battle itself, but when it battles with a monster, after damage calculation, if that monster didn't get destroyed, you can just banish this. So I've actually really liked this card. It beats that new Beat Trooper Giant Bug. It beats a lot of things that can't be destroyed by battle or card effect or can't be targeted because it's like a non-targeting removal. You take some life points, but you get rid of whatever. We play 1 copy of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Super good card, incredibly important in the deck. It's a graveyard. It's a negate of a graveyard effect. It goes into a larger monster. Tons of different stuff. Really good. And then neither player can summon two monsters at the same time. Like, just really, really good effects. That's actually a really good effect. A lot of people don't even realize how good that effect is. That'll out a lot of decks. You just have to. This is one of those cards you got to remember your own effects and to apply them. One copy of Azure Eyes. This is what you basically summon off a Spirit Dragon. You don't actually like make this without Spirit Dragon, and then you summon this off of Spirit Dragon, and it protects all of your dragons from destruction, which is very important because it actually protects your monsters from True Light. So even if your opponent pops True Light, you basically get to keep your dragons on the field, and they also can't be targeted. One copy of number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon. This is one of the best rank 8s in the game. Yeah, it negates a spell, makes your opponent attack it. One copy of number 97 Dragbludian. This will allow you to summon a number of different number dragon monsters. And the number dragon options are actually the number 38, the number 100, which you can detach to make it 9,000 attack. So you basically summon Dragbludian, detach, summon this, detach, make this 9,000 because there's 9,000 numbers on the field. Yeah, 9,000 ranks on the field, or 9 ranks on the field times 1,000. This will be a 9,000 attack monster. It's very easy to OTK with this deck because you can make a 9,000 attack monster at any given time. Play number 92 Hard Earth Dragon. This is another card that's very good if you're playing against a back row matchup. If you're playing, I don't want to say like a mirror match, but if you're playing against a fellow back row deck, you go first. You summon number 92 Hard Earth Dragon. They set all their back row, and on end phase you detach and you banish their entire field because everything they set gets banished, and then you just win the next turn. For the Galaxy Eyes package, we play the Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. Basically steals a monster, and then this is the only card that can attack directly, but steals a monster. That's the important part. You can actually summon a Cypher Eyes Cypher X Dragon over the monster that you steal. That way you just keep a 4,000 attack monster on the field and you get to keep their monster. Cypher Blade you can summon over either of them, either the original or this imitation, and then you can detach to pop a card. Galaxy Eyes Full Armored Photon Dragon is another one that's just very good because it can detach to pop a card. And then we play one Link Kuriboh for the stones, one Relinquished Anima again for the stones, and the Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Sphere is probably the most important card in the extra deck, especially on turn 1, because you can lock them out of their extra deck, and then they can't special summon, and now you go into this grind game with trap cards, and it's very difficult for them to come back, because you literally go +1 every single turn with True Light, and it's very difficult for your opponent to out. But that is it. That is my brand new Control Blue Eyes deck, and if you would like to see a combo Blue Eyes deck, just let me know in the comments, and I'll start to work on it. I already have a few combos that I'm going to be recording anyway, but I might just turn it into an entire deck in the upcoming days. But thank you for watching, and have a fantastic day.